HTML inputs are used to accept data from the user. There are quite a few input types, and we'll talk about each of them briefly. So it is imperative that you add your input tags inside the form tags. So this represents the form element in your browser. So the first input type is the text input type. So we have here a label. It serves as this one, the label for your input, and then you have your actual input, which is right now is has a type of text. And to link this label with this input, you have to add for in the label and the ID in the input, so they have same as text input, because if you click this text, it will highlight, it will automatically be selected as a whole. For example, you click here, it will be selected. If you click here, the input itself will be selected. So the text input can carry out text data. For example, it's the first name or the last name. So these are the input type you have to use for those text. And then we have a number. So in this example, I think I'm missing the ID of number input right there. And then this one is used to accept numbers, but text, it doesn't work, only the numbers. This could be in your form, this could be the age, this could be a cell phone number or block or street number, something like that. And then the next one is the email. So you can add email address in here, and then with a type, that's it signifies the type of email because you put here the type email. Then the next is the passwords. This is useful especially in your login forms or sign up forms when you have to enter password. It will be hidden, and to unhide it, you have to swap it with a text type. And then a checkbox. A checkbox lets you select multiple choices. So we have here one, two, three. It will select all, or you can just select one of them. So each input has its own value. So you can have checkbox one here, and you can get those data in your when you submit this form. So you can have each of these values, so you can get them. The difference with that in radio is you can only get one. So for example, you can only select the second, you can only select the third option, but not all of them. Unlike checkbox, you have the option to select all of them or just one. The radio is imperative that you can only get one option. So the radio button works as, if this is not bound by the name attribute, you can select all, because the browser will just render it. This is just a separate input. This is one input, another input. So the browser respects that, and you can select all of them. If you want to bound them by just one, the user can just select one. You can bind them with the name. So right there. And then the next one is the URL. So the URL represents the URL of your website. For example, your portfolio or anything that you need to add a URL. And then the next one is the date. You can select a date right here. We have also a time. Select a desired time. You can input time in there. This is also helpful in timesheets, something like that, if you want to add calculators. And then a month, so you can select month right there. And then another is the color. So if I save that, you can select colors in there like red. And then next is the range. So this range is this is where it's 0, and this is maybe 100%, so 50%. You can just use JavaScript to get these values in here. And then the next is search. So you're familiar with this. You can search for Luffy and then you can delete it. So you can use this search input if you want to add search functionality in your web app. And then the telephone accepts the phone number of the user. This is really helpful, especially on mobile devices, because it will render it makes a lot easier to add a phone number or get your contact list, something like that. And then the next is the week, so you can select a week right here. For example, the first, second week of what's this? August. So you can select that week, and then the next is the file. So you can choose a file. You can add them in here. Let's select that, and then a reset button. If I click reset, it will reset everything. For example, I have here occupation and then number and then email. If I click reset, it will delete all these data in here, given that it is the same form inside the same form tag. So if I click reset, it will be deleted. Then what we have here is the submit. So this triggers the submission of all this data in here, what you have added in your form. When you click submit, it will trigger those events and will submit your uh, data in the API or in your database or whatever type of storage you have for the submission. And then we have here the image. Actually, the image is just another form of submit, but it uses an image. And I think I have an image right here, just for the example, right there. So it will just show submit. And then I think that is that's all about the form inputs. So what we have here is a text, number, email, password, checkbox, radio, URL, date, time, month, color range, search, telephone, week, file, reset, submit, and image inputs. This is basically what you are going to use, especially in using forms like login, registration, or user profiles, or anything that you want users to enter their data manually in your website or your web app. So that's pretty much are the form HTML form inputs.